It's the most wonderful time of the year with the games we're playing and everyone will be of good cheer. That's right, welcome back to another video, and this time we're doing the top 5 indie games of the year because one of them is so good I had to separate it from the traditional game of the year video to create its own category just so it can win game of the year. But we'll get to that in a minute. We are starting off with some shooters. We've got the number 5 game, 5 indie game of the year. We got Soft Star, boom, from Red Art Games here. Got the back there, boom. Let's see what was inside. We've got the cart and some French information there. I'm not quite sure what that is. There's the artwork on the inside. And then we got a dual-sided poster here, which is pretty cool. So you got the cover art, and then on sale 10/28/22. So this just missed 2023. But as always, these are the top games I played this year. They do not have to be from 2023. But yeah, Soft Star was a great shooter. I played this early on in the year. Great start. I'm not actually sure if I beat it or not, but you go through. Well, the interesting mechanics were there's a teleport, which I didn't use much. I think it's this game. But yeah, you can move to different areas of the screen to avoid bullet hell, bullet storm, and all that good stuff. There's every time you kill an enemy, they drop a green jewel or whatever it is. So the more aggressive you are, and you pick those up when they're large, they're worth more points. They shrink and get smaller until they fade into oblivion and are worth less points. So if you're playing for a score, you really want to be at the top of the screen or where the enemies come out. So that rewards players who memorize the patterns and are aggressive and are really good at bullet hells. But yeah, this game was great. Again, if you're a shooter fan, you should check it out. That's Soft Star. It's my number 5 indie game of the year. Booyah! Then, next up, represented by something we saw last week, we've got Star Fox, boom, but no, this is First Squadron, also for the Nintendo Switch. And basically, it takes what you would expect the polygonal Super FX chip graphics to look like and modernizes them, and then adds a psychedelic layer of color to it. So the game is just fantastic. You start off with your furry animal companion. He's basically Fox. So he's flying the ship. You've got your cocky wingman. Yeah, so that's Falco. And then Slippy Toad is not Slippy Toad. It's an axolotl. And he's running the VR system. So what you're doing is you are training to fight off an invasion or possible invasion. I forget which one it was. So you're in a VR simulator and you're going through practicing your ship, and it looks like I said, a pink or very colorful Star Fox. And then what happens during that is there's a virus that actually corrupts your VR simulator, and there's going to be some spoilers in this video in case I didn't mention that, sorry. But it corrupts the simulator, and the simulator becomes what you're actually going to fight. So it's really cool. And yeah, it was pretty challenging. It's really short, but it's cheap, so you know that offsets it. I think there were 5 or 6 stages. The boss fights were excellent. And yeah, I mean, basically, if you want a modern Star Fox, First Squadron is what you're looking for. So yeah, I really enjoyed that. I'm glad it was part of 31 Days of Star Fox. First Squadron, my number 4 indie game of the year. Check it out. And if we move on to number 3, we've got one more shooter to talk about. This is Devil Engine for Complete Edition for the Nintendo Switch. And for PS5. So you can compare the covers there. And I don't know why I bought this twice. It was 4,000 yen, so that was a plus. You can see some fantastic artwork here. This is a horizontal bullet hell. Soft Star was vertical. So again, get some variety here. And I guess this is kind of 3D. Well, not Star Fox, but our first person, third person type of for First Squadron. But yeah, we've got our horizontal shooter here. And this game, I mean, you should be able to tell from the name Devil Engine, but it's hard AF, man. So, I don't know if I showed the bag. I think I showed the bag. And it also comes with a bonus title, 1993 Shenandoah, which I have not played yet. But so this is great value for money. Comes with this little card here, so you can download a zip file. I'm not sure if this is the whatchamacallit, the backgrounds or something, because Amazon sent me a code where I went to the link and downloaded some wallpapers and stuff. But yeah, there's also a QR code for there. I'm not sure what that is, but I mean, I got the same link for both games, so that kind of worked out. And then the cart here, boom. But yeah, so you go through, there's 3 ships. Basically, I was learning how to play with the middle ship, so I tried out the other ship. It wasn't for me. I tried out the third ship. It wasn't for me. Not saying that they're bad ships, but they just didn't click with me. I think it changes the whole game as well and how you play it. But I go through. They start you off on very hard, and so far as I found, there's only 2 difficulty settings: very hard, and once you get creamed, then they'll offer you very easy, which is not easy at all. But so I beat it on very easy, kind of credit dumped my way through. But the more you shoot and the more you kill, I think the meter builds up, and then you get a bomb. Of course, there are bomb pickups as well, and sort of R-type like weapon upgrades you can collect. So that's pretty cool. There was one I really liked. I think it was the homing missiles. So I kind of just stuck with that. There's also reflecting lasers, R-type, and something else that I didn't find as useful. There was a regular laser, which was pretty powerful, but again, the homing lasers were what I tried to, missiles were what I tried to stick with. Yeah, so I guess we should show that if you can see that huge bullet pattern there in the top right, which is on the top left on that one. So that's weird. But yeah, the story's interesting. I'm not sure if I got the good ending or not, which is weird. Or if there's even multiple endings, but there should be if there's 2 difficulty levels. At least 2. Again, I don't know if there's any others, but very easy and very hard, which is not very easy, but it is certainly hard. But yeah, so I built up an enormous amount of bombs and sort of bomb your way through the bosses, and they have some hard patterns too. Like safe spots, there are a few, but some bosses are really difficult to determine all the patterns, everything that's going on. But yeah, fantastic game. Or if you like shooters, if you like difficult shooters, Devil Engine is definitely for you. And like I said, you can get it on Switch or PS5. And I even got this sticker sheet here that came with it. So yeah, Devil Engine is my number 3 indie game of the year. Check it out if you can. Good fun. Okay, so we're done with shooters. The next one, number 2 indie game of the year, goes to Panzer Paladin from Tribute. This was the limited run release. You can take up arms there, and I mean, it's awesome. It's robot platforming with melee combat. So if that doesn't sound awesome to you, I don't know what does. But you can come through. It's got alternate artwork, which is very cool. The cart isn't much to look at. You know, I still haven't licked one of these to see how bad they actually are, and I'm not going to either. It came with this comic here, which was pretty cool. Not a manual. And then this Game Goblin, which is unleash the power of your favorite platformer. I guess this is a strategy guide. You can see limited run there on the back. It's the font is rather small and difficult to read. Not gonna lie, but it's got keys and values, and then game codes, a world of possibilities. So I actually have no idea what this is. It's not a strategy guide. But, yeah, Panzer Paladin. Back to the game. Going in, a lot of people said this was like Mega Man, and the more I think about it, it has similarities to Mega Man. I wouldn't say it's exactly like Mega Man, but you can judge for yourself by either playing it or from what I'm about to describe. So the level select is like Mega Man. You can choose, after the initial stage, you can choose any of the 10 boss stages to go through there. And then you've also got a castle of, I think, 6 stages that you need to fight. So, you know, that's like Mega Man. The weapon pickups are not like Mega Man. What you do is you got the robot and you kill enemies, and they'll have weapon drops. And the weapons will break, so you want to pick up as many weapons as you can. And, oh god, the weapons are so important for so many reasons. When you reach a checkpoint, you want to hold on to any almost dead weapons that you can, because there's a checkpoint before the mid-boss and a checkpoint for the last boss in each stage. And you'll want to put that into the pedestal to activate your checkpoint. You can also remove it to deactivate the checkpoint if you want, for whatever reason, but I don't see why you would do that. But yeah, so that you leave that there, and that gives you the checkpoint so you can continue on with the stage if you die anywhere. So that's the checkpoint system. The weapons also give you points, and you can sell them off or trade them in to upgrade your mech. So it'll increase either the life gauge or the other gauge. I forget what it is offhand, but it's really cool. And some also, each of the weapons has its own specific spell attached to it. So that magic, I guess, is what is like Mega Man with the different skills. So there's attack spells, there's buffs, and there's healing spells. So yeah, you can break your weapons for depending on your situation to do that. And some speed runners have torn this thing apart. It's fantastic. Okay, so that's combat and the weapon systems. Traversal is good, and then once you learn all the basics in the boss stages, then it punches you right in the face, because the last 6 stages, the castle, are so difficult. You really have to have mastered or learn on the fly to get through. But yeah, the game is difficult, no doubt about that. Probably not as difficult as Devil Engine, but yeah. But still, fantastic. The platforming, if your mech dies, or there's certain areas of the game where it's too big to access, then if it dies, you will be automatically switched to your pilot, and she has a whip there. Or you can leave the thing at any time to, again, go through platform sections that it can't get through, or get to bonus areas that only she can get to because of her size. And that's really cool. You can go through, you can pick up charges to recharge some of your favorite weapons, or to recharge the mech. There's also some 1-ups in there as well. But yeah, she'll swing through almost like, well, some Castlevanias where she's got whip action to jump across chasms. Again, it was great fun, great difficulty. Panzer Paladin is my number 2 indie game of the year. Highly recommend it. Check it out if you get a chance. And I don't know how many endings there are actually. I got one of the, I guess, a goodish ending. But I would say that there's two factors. So you got X and Y, and then A and B, and then they each go together to probably create one of maybe four endings, I'd like to say. There's a definite bad ending and a definite good ending. And I think I got one of the good-ish endings. So, yeah, definitely increases the replay value. So, I get Panzer Paladin, my number 2 indie game of the year. Boom. And that just leaves my number 1 indie game of the year. And I just put out a review of it, so you should know this is coming. This is 9 Years of Shadows from Halberd Studios again. And this time, we can actually talk about spoilers. So if you want to fast forward through the video here, I would totally understand. I did not talk about the little bear. That's part of the story. So you go through and, well, I still don't want to talk about too much of the story, but you get the bear. You have that light bar. What you do, if that's depleted, you hug the bear and that refills your life bar. Later on, you can also get the quick replenish. So if you time it right, you'll get about half the light bar instantly. Which, if you're playing on Steam and there's some achievements, you need to do that 4 times in a row for one of them. And it's really useful for one of the boss fights. It's basically getting my ass kicked, but then it's like, okay, instant thing, fight, hit the instant, okay, we're back in action. If you're just playing normally, I would prefer to get rid of all of your bar and hold the button for the regular replenish, because that fills up about 3/4 of the bar as opposed to about half. But it's really up to you. And like I said, situationally, it's better one way or the other. We didn't talk too much about the suits and their colors. The yellow suit, or lightning, opens yellow switches. It's the zoo suit, I think. Then the water one. I'm trying to think, is it Minerva? Each of them have names. Helios is fire, stuff like that. But the blue suit, first of all, it allows you to traverse through water. And then you go into paintings and pick up the secondary item. So then you can transform into a mermaid for quick traversal and attacking underwater, which is really cool. And of course that hits blue switches. And the green suit allows you to move through poison areas on the map. You can transform into a serpent to move through tunnels and access different rooms and drop bombs as well. Again, that's not too useful in combat, although there are some secondary effects with bosses that you'll want to use that for. So that's the green suit, green switches. The red suit, I think I mentioned the Helios suit is the red suit. You hit red switches, you get the secondary fire ability where you can float on heat currents. And then your attack button will allow you to boost off of enemies or certain things in the environment to continue floating along. And it's just fantastic. And finally, what I didn't mention last time, the suit you didn't get to see, is the light suit, which is just awesome. You deal, well, can almost instantly kill shadow enemies. And it can only deal damage to certain enemies in that form. Their ability is to increase your speed and jump distance and deal double damage when you're in the have the angel wings going. So it's just fantastic. Again, yeah, you traverse. Again, traversal could be better. It's okay. You'll start around, you'll do a loop and then a loop. But if you are diligent and pick up everything along the way, there's no real need to go back to the green area or the blue area once you pick up all of the items. And like I said, there's no teleportation, so you can't quickly go across, except for in the something cauldrons, where they have one heat current that goes through the entire middle section of the map. So that's a quick way to get from the bottom there all the way up to the upper floors. I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, a little bit better on the traversal would have been even more fun. Again, not a knock on the game itself. The game is fantastic. What else? I didn't encounter too many game-breaking bugs. It did crash, I think, twice. And one time, it bugged out at the end of a quest, so I ended up getting 2 items. Although it was the last one anyway, so I ended up with 101%. I don't know if it's supposed to be that way or not. But, yeah. No, I mean, the combat's fantastic. Platforming is fantastic and challenging. And then after I recorded that video, I went and attempted the final boss. And it took, I'd like to say, an hour. But it has 3 forms. The first form was challenging. And I think the environment may have done a little bit more harm than good in the first phase. The environment definitely helps you out in the second phase, and you have to get good at all 3 of the suit abilities to really get through that fight and get through it well. And then there's a third fight, which I didn't do as many times, thankfully, or maybe not because I could have used the practice, but I finally ended up beating it. Almost had a Mega Man 2 moment, if you remember what that story was like. But yeah, the game is fantastic. They did their homework. There's even, and I knew this right away, I went for this optional boss, and it's so Dracula from either Super Castlevania 4, or Rondo of Blood, or Dracula X, or Dracula XX, if, you know, depending on where you're playing it. And that was awesome. You fight death, which is really challenging. And I actually went back later and fought that with the light suit, so take him down. All of the aerial combat maneuvers, if you have to jump and hit them, that makes the fight that much more difficult. So that was pretty challenging, but we beat that. And then when we picked up the quest reward, they really did their homework. It just shows the love and you know, respect they have for Symphony of the Night. So I go in and collect the reward. And it was like, I beat that miserable pile of monsters. And I was just like, wow, that's freaking awesome. So yeah, 9 Years of Shadows is my indie game of the year. Freaking fantastic. Give it a play if you get the chance on Switch or Steam. But yeah, I mean, all of these games are great. But this is the reason I had to separate it into its own category to give it Game of the Year, because I just loved it so much. Check it out. Anyway, if you watch me talk this long about my top 5 indie games of the year, thank you. We'll be back next week with our top 10 games of the year. So, thanks for watching, and until next time, keep dancing.